We all know about their manipulation and their lies. We know what they do. But there are certain secrets that they don't tell you, and they're not so obvious to spot all the time. They are great at illusion. They are great at masking. So if you have ever dealt with a narcissist, or you think someone in your life could be a narcissist, you need to watch this video. Hello my friends, and welcome back. I hope that you're all doing really well. So in this video today, I'm going to be looking at and exposing the secrets of narcissists. Now, for most of us, we know about the manipulation and we know about the lies. We know exactly what they are doing. But there are other things that play here. And this is exactly what I wanted to expose. Something that I really feel so truly passionate about in exploring this. Because I feel like so many of us overlook this, or it's not really that obvious. Okay, so let's get into it. First thing that I would say to you is that they have a fear of being exposed. They cannot take it that someone is going to find out who they are, find out underneath all of that, the trauma, the upset, the damage. You know, on some level, they know that they are damaged individuals, which is why they behave in a different way. Like, think about it, right? They're around other people. They are around family members, maybe potential romantic partners, children, and they know that something isn't quite right with them. And how do they know? Because look, how many of them have said to you, oh, I think I'm like autistic, or I've got bipolar. They do tell on themselves. They are aware. It's not like they completely don't know what's going on. They do actually tell you. And if we listen carefully enough, then we can decipher these codes. But I think at the time when we are with these individuals, we don't really understand it, or we don't really see it for what it actually is. They do live in this fear of being exposed, even though they have this confidence, even though you might feel like they are winning at life, but they don't. They're hiding this dark, dark truth that they don't want anyone to know, which is why they mirror, which is why they love bomb. Okay, and as you know, you probably see it yourself, like that their behavior is not the same as everybody else's. It's a bit strange. It's a bit odd. It might not come out straight away. For example, when you first meet them, they are alluring, they're charming. Some of them could be quite dreamy. They're quite nice to be around, okay? And this is what makes you want to be around them, because they're great. You see other people liking them. So you're thinking, yeah, this is a good person. They're into the same things that I'm into. And you feel like there's a real connection with this person. But the thing is, as time goes on, there are telltale signs in their behavior, the way that they talk, the way that the subjects, the things that they talk about is not the same. It's very different. There's no congruency. It doesn't flow. And I feel like the reason why it doesn't flow is because they always center this around them. They always make it about them. And I feel like that's where a lot of us, because we're quite nice, we're quite kind people, what we tend to do is we just excuse it, or we just kind of like brush it under the carpet, because at the time we're not aware of it. But when you really look at it, when you really understand what is going on, this is the exposure. They're exposing themselves of what they actually do, but it's up to you to really notice that something's not quite right. And I think also added onto that fact is our intuition, our gut feeling tells us if we're clever enough, if our eyes are open enough, we can see it. But I feel like it's a double-edged sword, because the only way that you're going to see it is if you've had experience in it before. And if you haven't, then this is not going to be so apparent. The other thing that gives them away is that their identity is dependent on others, meaning, so when they're mirroring, when they're copying you, when they're trying to allure you into their web, it's very strange that you would find someone that is 100% into the same things as you, or maybe even 70 or 60% into the same things as you. Okay, you carve yourself an identity in the world. You have a sense of self. This is who you are. This is your kind of identity tag. But you see, for a narcissist, they don't have that. And that is another thing that you kind of need to look out for, because they don't have that. And what I mean by that is they kind of rely on you and they copy you, they mirror you, they want to be like you, and then they identify with that. And this goes hand in hand in something called compartmentalization. So what that means is they will play characters or roles or try and fit in to a certain dynamic that they are around those types of people. So for example, if they're involved in a romantic relationship with you, they're going to be everything that you would want them to be. They're going to be trying to fit into that mold of what you want them to be. And the reason why they do that is so that you basically like them, so that you could even fall in love with them, and that you don't go. You see, narcissists have another fear of abandonment and rejection. So if you were to go, this would really, really hurt them. And this is a core trigger of theirs that they can't handle. They can't take it. So for them, this is something that they're going to really try and avoid. They're going to make sure that you do not leave. So that is why they carve this identity, trying to be this person that you want them to be, with no real sense of self. And a sense of self is developed throughout the ages of 7 to 12 years old. So as we can imagine, probably at that time within their own development, they were having issues. And you see, what they had learned from their caregivers is that they need to please their parents or their caregiver to basically be liked, to get the attention, or if they were getting large amounts of attention, then they could never really be themselves. So there was never time for them to develop who they actually are. So that is why this issue happens. They don't have an identity. They depend on other people. And if you really think about it, you never really know the narcissist. They're a collection of different people that they have known or that they have hung around. They don't really know themselves. Another aspect of this is when they do mirror you, they're doing a lot of this to manipulate you. So they're trying to understand what your triggers might be. They're trying to understand what your buttons might be, because they are studying you. They want to know exactly what makes you tick so that they can then use this information against you. It's quite sad, my friends. It's very strange that somebody would do that. But again, if you don't know who you are, you don't know yourself, then how can you present yourself, authentic self, to another person? Everything is built on lies. None of it is true. They're trying to kind of work their way through this, but none of it is true. And that's the really difficult part of it, is that it's a very strange phenomenon. And a lot of people with mental health issues, or someone who is not quite confident in themselves, they don't have self-esteem, will do this, will use this technique. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, like this person comes across as having like so much confidence. There's all these people that like them. They're getting all this attention. Doesn't mean anything, my friends. This is an illusion. This is the secret that they're trying to pull away from. This is what I was talking about right at the beginning. They don't want anyone to know who they are. They don't want anyone to kind of figure this out. And that's why they protect it fiercely. Another thing that you need to know is that they know what they are doing. Everything is orchestrated. Everything is done on purpose, with intention. There's an agenda behind everything. So every time that you're feeling sorry for them, or maybe you're thinking, oh, they didn't understand or they didn't know, they knew. They know. They know how this goes. Forgive them. They are calculated. They're not innocent. They know what they are doing. They have developed these skills, these behavioral skills, to be able to manipulate someone, to be able to get their needs met. That is ultimately what they are counting on. It's nothing else. They are really wanting this from another person. It's nothing more and it's nothing less. They will do this because it meets their needs. You do not come into the equation. You're not that important in their life. And I know that is so hard and that is so upsetting to hear, but that's it. That's basically what's going on here. They do not have that empathy and that emotional understanding of what you are going through. And also this will really help. If you are second guessing yourself, then this will really help you to understand that this person does this intentionally. And finally, I really wanted to talk about their fear of abandonment. I know I mentioned it earlier in the video, but they really do have this fear of abandonment that you are going to go, that you are going to figure this out, that you are going to leave them, even though they manipulate you, control you. But why do you think that's done? Why do you think that they do that? They do that because they don't know any other way to be. They don't want you to leave. And they keep you trapped. I mean, that's the only way I can say it. They keep you trapped in this interaction because they don't want you to go. Because you are giving them, you are meeting their needs. That's ultimately all they are caring about, is that you do this for them. They can't do it for themselves, so they rely on others to provide this, to do this for them. And it is a very sad realization that you would hide, you would do this. You can't be your authentic self. But when you have a real fear, okay, everything that you do, you become hypersensitive. You have hyper attention on certain things because you want this to happen. You don't want this person to go. So can you imagine being like that, living like that? This is why they behave the way that they do. And it's really sad. It's quite upsetting, really, if you think about it. But this is all they know. But again, remember, they know what they are doing. I'm not saying that, I want you to feel sorry for them or you don't. That's a personal choice. But understand that these behaviors are all defense mechanisms, and this is how they have learned to be in the world. There is no way of them changing. There is no way of them understanding this from a different point of view. It is what it is, and this is how they are. This is how their neurological processes happen. They need you, and they resent the fact that they need you. Honestly, if you really think that they don't, but they do. Why do you think they've got lots of people around them that actually serve them, that give them this? Because this is the secret. They don't want to show you that they are reliant on you. Even though they can't give you what it is that you want, it's just so that you meet their needs. They're very selfish and self-centered in that way. So guys, I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please also know that I do offer one-to-one consultations, and if you're interested, please see the description box below. I also go live every single Tuesday on this channel, so please do join. It's 9 p.m. UK time. If you have liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.